Arkansas fans are really pissed off with Sam Pittman right now. They're currently 2-4, 0-3 in conference play. I don't think any Razorback fan saw this coming. And of course, every Arkansas fan knows that they play one of the toughest schedules in college football every single season. They understand that. And Arkansas fans are some of the most passionate, most realistic fans in all of college football. They're not expecting to win the SEC. They're not expecting to make it to a national championship game. All they want is to win 8-9 games consistently, occasionally have a Big Ten win season when maybe you end up competing for the SEC. But more times than not, Arkansas fans have pretty reasonable expectations. So for them to be frustrated shows a lot about the job that Sam Pittman has done. And ever since his second season at Arkansas, when they went 9-4, this program has regressed. And I thought that Arkansas was a team that was potentially on the rise. All right, last season in 2022, they had a lot of injuries. They had injuries everywhere. Understandable, right? But in 2023, going into this season, you expected this team to be way better than what they are right now. There's no reason why you should have lost to BYU the way that you did. And you're 0-3 in conference play. And the crazy thing about this is that Arkansas, when you look at the remainder of their schedule, there's only really one game that you can look at and really pencil that in as a W, and that's FIU. Their next couple of games, you got to go up on the road against Alabama, Mississippi State, on the road, in the swamp against Florida, Auburn with Hugh Freeze. You got Mizzou, who's having a great season. There's a high chance that Arkansas doesn't even go bowling this year, and that will be a major disappointment. And Sam Pittman, he hasn't really done a great job being the head coach of this team over the last couple of years. This team has went backwards. It's crazy how you go 3-7 your first year, then you triple your win total your second season, and then that's just it. The team just goes backwards. It just makes no sense to me. And I was really shocked when he replaced his former offensive coordinator, Art Briles, who left for TCU, with Dan Enos. And I laughed. You want to know why I laughed? Because I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. And I remember when Dan Enos was calling the plays for us when Manny Diaz first hired him. And you saw he didn't last long as Miami's OC. Manny Diaz gave that fool the door expeditiously. So I was really astonished when I saw Sam Pittman hiring this dude to replace Art Briles. And everybody's asking the question, what the hell has happened to KJ Jefferson? KJ Jefferson was one of the most underrated quarterbacks in all of college football. He was really good at taking care of the football. He was dynamic with his legs. And all of a sudden, Dan Enos takes over the play calling, and he's ruined KJ Jefferson. He's ruined Rocket Sanders. They had one of the best quarterback running back duos in all of college football. And you can't even tell what KJ Jefferson is anymore because how atrocious the play calling has been. And I get that the players got to execute, but there's no way KJ Jefferson goes from being a top quarterback in the SEC for the past 2 years to now being one of the worst quarterbacks in this conference. I never thought I would ever say Brady Cook is better than KJ Jefferson. But based on this season, he is. I mean, is KJ Jefferson even a top 5 quarterback in the SEC anymore? And I don't blame KJ Jefferson. I blame Sam Pittman whiffing on his offensive coordinator hire of Dan Enos. There were plenty of better candidates who you possibly could have gotten. You mean to tell me that you couldn't have persuaded Dan Mullen to leave the ESPN desk to become your offensive coordinator? Art Briles was one of the best OCs in all of college football. I know that Arkansas fans had their moments where they looked at Art Briles and they said, what the hell was that? But this dude was a really good play caller for the most part. And you go from him to Dan Enos, yeah, of course there was going to be a drastic drop-off because of that. And the defense doesn't really look all that improved neither. Sam Pittman, I definitely think it's time to start having those tough conversations. All right, and you might not even have to wait another year to fire Sam Pittman. If you win only 3 games this year, I think that's a fireable offense. And I believe that he got an extension not too long ago. In Arkansas, for all of my younger audience out there, or all of my audience who doesn't really know a lot of history about college football, Arkansas is one of the most winningest programs in the history of this sport. Believe it or not. And you wouldn't even be able to tell with what this football program has been through within the last decade. I mean, at one point, Arkansas was a team that was consistently competing in the SEC West. Now, of course, they weren't making it to the SEC championship game, but they weren't a team that you could look over. You look at Arkansas now, and you just look at them as a pushover. And with Texas and OU coming into the conference, things are going to get a lot worse for Arkansas. Yeah, they play one of the most difficult schedules in all of college football every single year, but so does Auburn. That's just part of the job. Arkansas fans have reasonable expectations. They want to win 7-8 games consistently, 8-9 games consistently, but they'll take a 7-win season. But be in this situation when you possibly could miss out on a bowl game is a fireable offense. All right, losing to BYU is a fireable offense when you're Sam Pittman at Arkansas. And BYU looks to be a pretty solid team this year. But if you go back and you watch the way that they choked that lead against BYU, you'll be wanting to fire Sam Pittman too if you was a Arkansas fan. Like, Arkansas fans had to endure Chad Morris. And then when you think that you got a little bit of optimism after your 9-4 season in 2021, you go 7-6 and you say, man, it's understandable. We had a boatload of injuries. And you thought that going into this year that maybe you could possibly finish in the top half of the SEC West. At least I thought you would be able to. Your defense looked much better. You thought that your offensive line would be able to get back to the level that it was in 2021. But things have just been a complete disaster for Arkansas. I mean, this fan base, I feel so bad for you guys because you guys are one of the best fan bases in all of college football. Like, I get really surprised every time I upload an Arkansas video and it does crazy numbers. Like, one Arkansas segment I did got like 5,000 views in like 24 hours. I was like, damn, like, Arkansas fans exist? Like, believe it or not, this is one of the biggest fan bases in college football, one of the most underrated fan bases in college football, and right now they're getting tortured because anytime they get a little bit of optimism, a little bit of reason to be optimistic about the future, they get their souls ripped out, and you get Sam Pittman going 0-3 in conference play. I mean, these boys done lost to BYU. They done lost to LSU. They done lost to Texas A&M. They lost to Ole Miss. And you can say, man, at least they haven't been blowouts, but it's just the fact that you can't find ways to win these games. Nobody cares about how tough a schedule Arkansas has. I'm going to say it for the last effing time. Everybody in the SEC is playing the gauntlet of a schedule. Look at Hugh Freeze at Auburn. This fool has to go up against Georgia and Alabama every single season. I mean, it doesn't get no tougher than that. You got to go up against Georgia and Alabama, two juggernauts in college football, every single season. If there's any head coach who deserves a pass, it's any head coach who's coaching at Auburn. Don't want to hear no more of the excuses for Sam Pittman having a tough schedule. You can't use that anymore, man. Arkansas is at a point now where they should be able to take a tough schedule and at least be able to be bowl eligible. There's no reason why, regardless of how tough the schedule is, for Arkansas not to be a bowl eligible team. It's not like this program is lacking in resources. They got solid facilities, okay? Arkansas has a pretty nice campus. I've actually watched a couple of virtual tours of Arkansas University, and I was pleasantly surprised. Because before I ever really got into Arkansas football like that, and I started really covering college football heavily, I used to be like, bruh, what the hell is in Fayetteville, Arkansas? Why would anybody want to go there? But it's actually a very beautiful place. So, I mean, there's no reason for Arkansas to be going in the direction that they're headed. And the direction that they're headed is straight to the bottom of the SEC again. It's funny how, in the span of 3 years, Sam Pittman went from the beloved hero of this program to now being seen as a villain. And it's just so crazy how I just find ways to continue to use this quote. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And for Sam Pittman, it looks like it's only taken 4 to 5 seasons from him to go from beloved head coach to now get this fool out of here. And for Arkansas fans, I got to ask you this. Who's next? Who's going to replace Sam Pittman when you end up moving on from him? It's crazy, man. Like, I thought that this program was going to get back to the level that they were in the early 2010s when they had Ryan Mallett at quarterback. RIP, God rest his soul. And it just seems like Arkansas is just stuck in this place where they're either going to be one or two things. They're either going to be a bottom dweller in the SEC or they're going to be a middle-end program in the SEC. And this program, based on their history, used to be so much better than that. You know, for the people who are just casual watchers of college football, you look at Arkansas and you probably expect them to be a 6-7 win team. You probably don't expect much from them, but this used to be a very passionate football program. This used to be one of the better football programs in college football. When I first got into college football, I remember how good Arkansas used to be. They used to be a top 15 team every single season. Write it down. They weren't going to have no more than 3 losses, and they were going to be a factor in the SEC picture. Now, it's like you don't even know if they're consistently going to be a team that can even make it to a bowl game. This season has just been a complete disaster for the Razorbacks. And I just feel for Arkansas fans, man, because you guys deserve so much better than this. I mean, you look at the previous head coach you had, Chad Morris. That fool was not even qualified to be a head coach, it looked like. And when you had a little bit of reason to be optimistic about this program heading in the right direction, they go 7-6, then 2-4, and now currently 0-3 in SEC play. And if Arkansas only wins 1 or 2 conference games this year, I think Sam Pittman has to get the door. And I know you may be like, man, it's just only one really bad season that he's had, but look at the trend. You go from 3-7 to 9-4. 9-4 is your peak. And things are only going to get tougher for you. Regardless of how the new schedule is going to be rotated, you're always going to play a tough schedule. It doesn't matter if you don't have to play Alabama and Georgia every year. You may not have to play Alabama and Georgia every year, but you're at least going to have to play a Texas or Oklahoma every single year. You're at least going to have to play a couple of good schools. There's no getting around this. So either you find a way to upgrade a head coach and get a really big name head coach in there, or you just continue to get these Sam Pittman kind of coaches and you just continue to be a program that's going to flirt between being in the middle of the SEC conference or on the bottom. I get why Arkansas fans are frustrated with Sam Pittman, because they were deceived. They truly were. Y'all thought that Sam Pittman was the guy. They gave this dude an extension, and it looked like he was going to be the head coach of Arkansas football for life. It's crazy that we're really having this conversation about Sam Pittman being fired after the season they had in 2021. I still remember that season. I was talking about Arkansas nearly every single week. I was loving Arkansas. They were like my Cinderella team to root for that season, man. I became like a honorable Arkansas fan for that 2021 season because the Hurricanes were just so damn bad and they were just ripping the heart out of my body so much. I just got tired of. I just said, F it, man. Like, I love my Canes, but I'm still going to root for Arkansas for the remainder of the season. Just cause. And it's crazy. Sam Pittman, if Arkansas doesn't make it to a bowl game, and you know they finish conference play with a losing record, you definitely at least have to entertain firing Sam Pittman. Now, most likely, we know that Sam Pittman, regardless of how this season goes, he's most likely going to be back for 2024. All right? But 2024 is definitely going to be a make or break year. He definitely is going to have one of the hottest seats in the country. And it's going to be hard for him to be able to overcome that, being able to get out of the hot seat when the SEC is going to have 2 new members join in, Texas and Oklahoma. And plus, you got to play a tough schedule. I would hate to be a head coach on the hot seat at a place like Arkansas, where you got great resources. The fans don't expect a lot from you, but you got a really difficult schedule. Like, it's really hard to win at Arkansas. We get that. But it doesn't matter. If you can't get the job done, somebody else, you got to get in there who can get it done. Okay? Like Auburn, they went from Brian Harsin, and many people thought that they kind of went about that firing in the wrong way. But it looks like it's paying off for them because Hugh Freeze is getting the job done right now. I mean, Hugh Freeze, although Auburn wasn't able to beat Georgia, the fact that they were able to hang around with Georgia is a testament to how good of a coach that he is. Sam Pittman now, it's like with all of these new top-level head coaches coming in, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up. Look at all of the coaches that we have in the SEC right now. Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, Nick Saban. All right? I mean, these are 3 big-name head coaches. Then you're going to have Steve Sarkisian coming in, Brent Venables coming in. It's just like, if you're Arkansas and you want to keep on being a middle-end program in this conference or potentially a bottom dweller, keep on hiring these Sam Pittman and Chad Morris kind of coaches. If Arkansas wants to get back to the football program that they used to be in the early 2010s when they were having 11-win seasons, 9-win seasons at minimum, they need to spend some big money on getting a big-time head coach in there. Hell, I don't even think that hiring Dan Mullen would be a bad replacement for Sam Pittman. But you just got to get some big-name coaches in there, man. You got to interview some big-name head coaching candidates. You can't keep experimenting with these head coaches who don't really have a proven track record of success. You just can't. So let me know how you guys feel about Arkansas and Sam Pittman right now. Do you guys think that Arkansas needs to go ahead and part ways with Sam Pittman? Or do you guys think that Sam Pittman needs one more year in Fayetteville? Let me know down in the comment section down below.